had some corporate organizations come here to tell us about what they are doing. Monies have been exchanged, and friends have been made. And this is all what the Africa International Housing Show is all about. Go by. Nigeria today, and each and every one of us have to constantly. O God of creation. Let's go, 1, 2, go. O God of creation, direct and noble course. Guide us. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize some special guests here in the building. Before I do that, I want to say that today is Dangote Day. A round of applause in West Africa, according to Forbes, and today is their day, and we will be hearing from them and speaking with them. Having said that, I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Rabiu Umar, the Group Head Sales and Marketing, Dangote Cement PM. Dr. Victor Onukwa, a round of applause to all. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, today is Dangote Day, and we'll be going straight to calling on them. But first, I want to let you know that the focus today is on championing innovations for real estate development in Africa. I'll be calling on someone to do the introduction, and he will give us an opening, and of course, he will bring on stage those sessions for today. So I don't have his name.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you, and I'm pleased to welcome all of us to today's program of events. We're going to be talking about championing innovation for real estate development in Nigeria, globally, the form, the function of buildings. Today, arguably, the biggest name, or one of the biggest names that go into what makes a real estate be in place, whether commercial.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good morning to you all. May I to Dangote Special Day at the 2022 Abuja International Housing Show. It is on record that Abuja International Housing Show has emerged as the largest housing and construction event showcase out of Nigeria. I truly commend the organizers of the event. International Housing last 16 years. The theme of today's discussion, championing innovations for real estate development in Nigeria, is quite appropriate, given the role that shelter plays in the life of man and society. Real estate development is a process that involves renovation of existing buildings, purchase or sale of new land, erection of new structures, and sale of them to buyers. And as stated earlier, housing or shelter is a major or primary need of man. Compared to other needs, housing keeps a man safe from effects of the nature's elements. It is estimated that over 40% of our population live in urban areas, while the population is projected to grow at 4.2% due to high fertility rate. This is talking about Nigeria. This trend needs to be matched with the emergence of new housing estates and increase in the size of existing ones. The disparity in the growth metrics between the two has resulted in housing shortage crisis in spite of government's best efforts. Dangote Cement, as an operator in the building construction sector, is focused on addressing the imbalance through innovations that drive real estate development in Nigeria. We have set up a department whose focus is to attend to the challenges and the peculiar needs of the real estate development industry in Nigeria by, first of all, trying to understand what truly are their needs, how do they want to be served, where are the opportunities for us to collaborate with them and support them, given the extensive experience that we have across different operations, the biggest of which is our presence in Nigeria, but of course not forgetting the experience that we have garnered over the years by our presence in other African countries. Apart from that, given the high cost associated with developing new estates and if we look at the tax credit scheme of the federal government, which was initiated in 2019 by the President through the signing of the Executive Order number 7 to allow private sector finance public infrastructure in lieu of tax, and then to offset it over time using tax credits. This has seen the reconstruction of many roads, and there are many critical infrastructure that are at different stages of completion. Tax credits can enable us to improve the speed at which we are closing the housing gap that we need in the country. Companies either within or outside the real estate industry can take advantage of this tax credit, working of course with the government to create another vehicle to fast-track the process of closing the housing gap. The other model, which to an extent has been in existence, is adopting a public-private partnership on mass housing. Government can initiate construction of new estates through PPP models. Government can provide the land, while private sector operators, including mortgage banks, provide the funding. This model has performed creditably well and yielded projects like Terminal 2 of Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, as an example, the Victoria Island Lekki Expressway, among many others. In Abuja, I'm aware many of the mass housing schemes that have started in the last 15 years or so as a result of efforts in this regard. And we can say today that Abuja is probably ahead of the curve when it comes to housing needs, how housing needs are being met in spite of the influx of people from many parts of the country and the higher percentage of migration into Abuja up with the demand. Because of what? Because of that partnership with the government. Another area is also use of locally tested materials and use of local materials. And this should be encouraged in new estates. An example is burnt bricks made from mud. And of course, we are into cement. Cement is locally manufactured as well. It's not imported. And we have examples of estates construction with soil stabilization, which is a bit slow, I must say. But there are many examples, if you look across, especially in Eastern Africa, there are many examples that we can copy. I mean, there are different stages, there are different levels, from a skyscraper to a 40-foot house or 40 square meters bungalow. The needs in terms of complexity of the construction is not the same. So at the end of one spectrum, you have the soil stabilized bricks, and then all the way to the most sophisticated models, one of which is actually the formwork technology and how it can help in reducing the time it takes to build a house. If you have one aluminum formwork complete for a house, you can actually build a house every 3 days. All right? And this model has been tested. There are places where it has been tested in Nigeria. It's a little different, and it may not be suitable for every level of the housing levels. But at the same time, it's something that can be used to quickly reduce the cost of construction, reduce the cost of material, because you're using concrete instead of using hollow blocks. on one side, but at the same time, in terms of the speed of execution, you can finish houses much quicker. There are some specific initiatives that we have started. We're partnering with different groups and different stakeholders in the industry, one of which is the Standards Organization of Nigeria, the Builder Association, National Institute of Quantity Surveyors, to sensitize our customers in terms of compliance with the quality standard. Whether we like it or not, one key area in terms of construction that is always an issue is to be able to make sure that we build structures that stand and we build structures that don't end up collapsing. And to achieve that, a lot has to go into the planning in terms of people's education about the construction practices, in terms of making sure that people get approval and there's structural engineers that have done what needs to be done in terms of design. Because if you miss it at the design stage, then of course, whatever it is you're doing will be to put a band-aid. A very good example is the number of blocks. You ask, depending on who you speak to, you get different numbers in terms of how many blocks are you supposed to get out of a bag of cement. How much sharp sand do you use? How much stone dust do you use? And at the end of the day, what compressive strength do you get out of all that? So the more we enforce and educate people in terms of how these elements lead to what we get at the end of the day, and the more we make sure that that is adhered to, the better as a country we will improve our building practices and deal with the menace of building collapse in the country. And we feel that we're here to talk about innovation, but before innovation, you need to make sure that the structures that you're putting up are structures that actually can stand the test of time. And from our own, I'm proud to say that I've been to more than 200 plants across the globe, cement plants, all right? And Dangote Cement has the finest quality control system anywhere in the world in terms of how you attain the quality of production of cement. I make bold to say that I have not seen anything better in any geography in the world. We have robotic labs, which means that human interference in the process is limited. And of course, that improves the consistency of the chemistry of the products that you end up getting. And of course, we have a few other initiatives, partnering with real estate companies to understand what truly are their issues, what are the challenges, as an example. And of course, using ready-mix means that you have better consistency, you're able to build your buildings quicker, and of course, we're looking at ways to partner with them to understand what exactly are the challenges they're facing and how do we come in and work with them together to find means and ways to improve. And of course, we are not forgetting our customers who are distributors, our retailers, and of course, the consumers ultimately of our products. And what are we doing right now? It is cement bag of goodies, which is a promo in a sense, but it's our own way of solution. We have the finest construction materials process, and as I say, on the continent. And of course, that has given us a unique opportunity to be able to supply across the country. Another thing that we have, which we often don't talk about too much, but is a fact, is the distribution capacity. We're able to distribute cement everywhere in this country, all right? And that is possible only because we have made a significant investment in our distribution capacity, and we keep doing the same, empowering our customers that work with us to also do the same and grow as we grow as of this session. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for him. The Group Head, Sales and Marketing, Dangote Cement PLC, Mr. Rabiu Umar, they're delivering his opening speech. At this point, I would like to call on Mr. Kule Faleti. He will be in charge of this session. A round of applause for him as he comes on stage. All right, so Mr. Kunle will be the head of this session. We are discussing championing innovations for real estate development in Nigeria. The first person I would like to call to come up stage is Alhaji Rabi Umar again, Group Head Sales and Marketing, Dangote Cement PLC. A round of applause for him. He is our main speaker. Our second speaker is Fumi Sani, National Sales Director, Dangote Cement PLC. And we have Aniki Ayodeji, Head Technical Sales, Dangote Cement PLC. A round of applause. Over now to our moderator, Mr. Kunle Faleti.
Hi, panelists. Good morning. This is going to be very informal. Again, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to thank the Dangote Group for your support, your partnership. Thank you very much. We're talking about championing innovation for real estate development in Nigeria. Innovation, it's not society. The buzzword is diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI, it's a big deal. We cannot talk about attaining innovation or driving innovation without, looking at the context of most detribalized Nigerians. I met him about 45 years ago in Surulere, Modupe Johnson. His best friends, are Yorubas, Igbos, Sam, Tunji Shoneko, Benga Ekwe, just to show how diverse he is. But talking about championing innovation, and anyone can take this, what is Dangote Group as a strategy, incorporating into its corporate policy to ensure that DEI goes into attaining innovation?
Everybody gets a fair chance. And of course, as a business, we are an equal opportunity employer. I mean, if you go to Dangote, you will not recognize, Dangote is Nigeria, basically. Like, I think you've already buttressed the point yourself in terms of the president of the group and his, the kind of character that Dangote on this is representative across different points. We're all from different parts of Nigeria. We are working together, and we're also not the same. We have at least, I would say, 33% gender equality here. And I can tell you, if I look at the people who work with me directly, I would say out of you come from has nothing to do with your ability to get a job or to get promoted or to make progress within the group. As a matter of fact, we are an exporter of talent. We're actually exporting
modular construction, alternative building technologies. What focused, deliberate, and perhaps sustained drive is Dangote doing in mind is cement, but the technology is changing gradually towards alternative building technology. I mentioned the 3D, I mentioned modular technology. So do you want to share with us part of your focus, your strategy on alternative building technology outside of cement that we're all aware of?
Okay, I think I kind of touched on it when I spoke about the formwork, because the formwork is basically a means of a modular building practice. But overall, I think every company needs to decide what is our core competence and stay within that core competence space. There are many things that go into the process. The process focused on being the best at the ones that we are good at. If you talk about trends and innovations that, then if you look at the way things are going, I don't think that's sustainable. So for us, the focus is a little different. It's okay to see new trends that are going on in the world, but the question is how many of these things can we produce locally? Because ultimately we're talking about closing a 17 million housing deficit, right? If you look at cement consumption, for example, Nigeria is about 120 kilogram per capita, 118 to 120. Whereas even within Africa, in spite of all these developments, you still find cement consumption and the sophistication and the different offerings and innovative solutions may increase. But the base product of producing something that binds two things together and keep a structure that you have the peace of mind to sleep within, I don't see that going.
Those are particularly can make or break affordability. I kind of know, well, I have an idea of what Dangote is doing, but specifically for our audience, XYZ Nigeria Limited wants to build 50,000 units in Gombe. Does Dangote Group have any benefit from reduced reduced cement cost to enable him deliver on it? You know, do you have such CSR that is strictly focused on affordable housing development?
Maybe we'll use.
Okay.
Not working. So.
It's not working. It's working.
It's working.
Okay.
By the way, Fumi is the director of sales for Dangote Cement.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Faliti, for the we opened up conversation with some of the real estate builders. It gives us opportunity to be able to deliver on time at anywhere in Nigeria. We have Boko plant, we have Obajana, we have in the west, which is Beshe. We also have lately Okela. So we have a good spread to be able to, you know, kind of deliver and at affordable prices.
Thank you very much. And I hope we'll be able to challenge with Dangote. Over the past 6 months, an upsurge in the instances or occurrences of building collapse. It is very worrisome. It is very bothersome. Not only, you know, the loss of lives, but consumer confidence in the industry. The most visible was what happened in Ikoyi a few months back, the Fourscore building. So I'd like to know what is Dangote doing in terms of product development, you know, to address some of this.
Okay, I can take that. First and foremost, every sane person should be worried about building collapse. As a responsible organization, we are very worried about it. I think the government should equally be worried. So let's break it down. What are the causes of building collapse? 1, design problem. 2, materials, maybe low quality materials. 3, inadequate materials, maybe where you are supposed to use 3 lengths of, you know, rod, they are using 2, where they are supposed to use to make more profit from the point of view of the builders themselves. So they want to maximize cost and, minimize cost in order for them to make more profit. So it is quite worrisome and everybody should be worried. I would like to urge the government to, you know, to do something about it. There should be consequences for, you know, building collapse from the design stage, who designed it, who is the architect, who is the engineer. Everybody should have, a question to give quality products to finest, robotic lab. I don't think it's in any part of this country. I mean, we have other competitors, they don't have it. So in terms of quality assurance, and then again, we are also partnering with Standard Organization of Nigeria to educate people, because sometimes the issues are not only because of maybe materials, for one bag of cement. All of that put together are the big consequences for this. And to also prevent this, the Ministry of Works and Housing, they have a role to play. You won't find cases of bungalow collapsing. It is high-rise, signed it. Somebody should be approving from be approved. And if anything goes wrong, the example you made of Ikoyi, it's like manslaughter as far as I'm concerned. And somebody should be held responsible for that. Yes, even if the owner of the building unfortunately died along with other people, but the engineer and everybody else that worked on that project are alive. Are they being queried? Are they being questioned? So if they walk away with that, it will continue to happen. So beyond us, we as a responsible business and a leader in this industry, we will try and do our best in the area of sensitization, area of educating people on how to apply the cement, and in the area of collaborating with SON, in order for the role to play in that.
Thanks. I think he wants to add to the conversation.
Yes, if I may add, we did a kind of studies we collaborated with SON, and we also noticed that when you look at 60, that means the young ones to educate these guys, get the association to get more young people around so that we can do practical demonstrations with them, teach them how to do. We even go to sites to visit the sites and see what they do and that they do it correctly. So this has helped us in also.
Thank you. And going to be read, and members of the panel will address the questions. So papers will go around. Important, from from factory to site to, and in my opinion, the truck haulage of cement is kind of outdated. If we're doing from loads of cement every day, traveling on the highway, it's going to depress. I mean, I travel on Lagos Ibadan anytime I'm in town, and you see this haulage trucks, broken down. What can be rail transportation as an alternative? It's faster, it's quicker, there's no stress on existing infrastructure. Is Dangote doing anything in this regard to, not to build, although Alaji can do it, he has the money, but, what we need to start, thinking outside the box. We need to start thinking outside the box. We're talking of reducing the housing deficits. How can we develop rail transportation? And it could be that Dangote drive to look at as part of our distribution network. That's the trend. That's the way to go. As opposed to, of course, trailers are not eco-friendly. The emission, the diesel. What are the plans Dangote has? Thank you.
I think it's more about, how do you take advantage of infrastructure? Rail is something I've been involved with for the last 20 years. Before now, used to work in the downstream sector. And I remember about 18 years ago, we used to try to move petrol instead of moving it on by road, to move it from Lagos to Kano by rail. And I can tell you there's a lot that needs to be done to attract people to do that, because ultimately in business you want to be able to have the confidence that when you say I'm going to deliver, you are able to deliver. But where you start a journey on Monday and you're expected to reach your destination on Wednesday and you're arriving there 7 days after or 10 days after, I don't think that will help businesses to convert to that. Several attempts, I can guarantee you, have been made, not just and safer, all right? Even though it's not as quick, but because you're able to do more at a time, it means that the tranche you're moving is much more. Rail, like a transmission line, is not zone. Transportation of the old cement plants in Nigeria, you'll find there are rail tracks, exposure to all the issues. There are a lot of issues running a transportation business, and the cost is incredibly high. We're facing in their own business to another. You're not, of course,
the physical and chemical properties of cement same, but at the same time, it will drop the carbon emission into the atmosphere. So that is one big project that is going on all over the world, across every cement plant. We are not left out. We are even pushing to do more around here in Nigeria, in all the group. Yeah.
Thank you. What are the focused, deliberate, and perhaps sustained initiatives that Dangote, I know that the foundation is doing in terms of giving back to the community? I'm not going to mention names, but similar organizations in emerging markets, they partner with non-profits, you know, to build affordable housing in communities where they are located. So does the group, through the foundation, have any such? Rabi?
okay. I mean, we have, like every company, we have a focus area. There are many issues there. I mean, issues are not endless. I mean, they're endless. You don't have control over that. So we have a focus: education and empowerment. These are the areas that we have focused, and the things we've been doing on whether it's on polio, on food security, or any of the other areas that we're with empowerment. And as I speak to you, about 180 youth are about to graduate from our facility, where they get trained. We have a partnership with a German company where we give them training on mechanical, electrical, engineering, artisanship program. And the graduates, some of those graduates get absorbed within our own businesses, because as you know, we also have interest in other sectors of the economy, and as such, the output of that technical school gets absorbed mostly within our different businesses, as a way to keep the pipeline fresh in terms of bringing in talent and helping to bring to improve youth empowerment and education at the same time. So these are the areas that we focus on. Now, we don't normally talk about what we call pure CSR, all right? Because this is a foundation, so it's a strictly given back to the society, which is slightly different from what we do with the communities. That is something that is contained as what we call community development agreements that we have with these communities, whether it's employing people from the community or doing certain collaborations with them. We usually don't like to talk about CSR. We'd rather focus on giving back to because the foundation is much more global.
Thank you. Excuse me, do we have questions ready, please? The first question, how can Dangote Cement manage issues of what's this? Personnel deficits in the condition that in terms of managing.
At the site, we see sometimes we do.
This is responsible for the high price of cement in Nigeria as against other countries.
Well, like I said, we are not more economic. China is very any other place right now, and we have not passed the total cost of production into our prices. If we do, the price of cement will be much, much higher than what it is today. We started, sometimes this year we started with 280 naira per liter of AGO. As of today, it's 800 naira. And that's about 2.5%, 200% increase. Our price of cement at the beginning of the year was 3,000 plus. It's still 3,000 plus. So we haven't passed the cost of producing, the very high cost of producing the bags of cement into our cost. Into our pricing. And we try to stay competitive. Check it out, our prices, even a little cheaper than what competition is offering the consumers.
Thank you.
I think I would like to add to that, because the context in which these conversations happen, oftentimes there are emotions involved. So because of the emotion, we tend to overemphasize what we talk about and not have a factual trend analysis. I'm going to throw up a challenge. Can we go back to January 2020, adjust for all the variables that we want to adjust for? And I'm saying it here because people here are impacted by it. Let's forget about what we import. What is it? A lot of, and then that's steel. If you look at sharp sand, how much were we buying a tipper of sharp sand? How much is it today? You look at aggregates. And then you compare it as a percentage. I think somebody should do that study, because then the fact will come out to see clearly that there is not the way we talk about it, because these are all materials that are going into the same construction space. Nothing steel process. You burn your material at 1,400 degrees to produce clinker. That is exactly how steel is also produced. So in terms of energy, what you need per ton of steel or per ton of cement, you're going through the same process. But because most of the time, like I said, when the conversations are happening, they are not joined together. But we should look around and look at the things that that go into the construction, or even timber, what is produced locally. I'm not talking about importing doors from Turkey. I'm talking about what we produce in Nigeria locally. How much were we paying? What is the correlation between that and what's happening in the cement industry? And I can guarantee you what you'll find is that cement is not going up at the same rate as other materials that are locally produced. So I think the conversation should be much more comprehensive. And like we just said, if you look at it, it's not that the cost itself is not binding on us. To produce cement, you need to use energies, and also in our homes. I recently had to go and invest in an inverter system because I realized that all my income was going towards paying for diesel.
Thank you. Mr. Rabi also mentioned it in his opening remarks. They say that the voice of people is the voice of God. What role does Dangote Cement play in the affordable housing industry in Nigeria? I'm aware.
But at it, we for 20 years, and I can tell you, anybody who knows Lagos knows that that is a problem, and it's an economic problem. It's not just a It's not just, it's an infrastructure that everybody uses, not just Dangote uses. Everybody uses the same infrastructure. So I think investing in such ventures is a Dangote cannot do everything in Nigeria. I mean, in a sense, but we'll do our best.
One of the feedback that we get every year coming here is that we come, we talk, and that's it. On behalf of the board of directors, we will have a committee on the board that will engage Dangote directly. And Mr. Rabiu, I'd like you to work with us. We want to come back to our audience, our partners, and let them know that at the 16th engagement, we've gone to Dangote Group. I hope you don't mind, following up on this.
Absolutely. I mean, we are
it matters a lot.
Yes.
It's a big deal. Mr. Okupe in the house, please. Yeah. So, Mr. Okupe, please come. He's going to give us some numbers and statistics. A few years ago, again, people say it's talk. And the directors of Abuja International Housing Show, we came together and started a youth initiative for young Nigerians, recognizing their good work for building design for technology. Mr. Okupe is going to come on board and give us some numbers. After the numbers, I would like a commitment from Dangote to support that initiative. We are getting old. We have to hand over to the next generation. And I mean, it's mind-boggling what our young, what they can do. Mr. Okupe, please come.
Okay, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to call up the other members of the committee. Engineer Kulu, please let the others join me. We have just a few minutes. In furtherance of the objective of this African International Housing Show, we have a committee that was set up on youth ideas and competition. And the idea is that Okay, briefly, we'll talk about the Dangote Group. It's looking into education, educating the artisans and things like that. And we at the committee have also decided that it is not enough to come here every year and talk. It's not enough to organize a competition and get winners. So we have decided that when we get the winners, we look at the winning design, and we that are elderly, the practitioners, we put in ideas also to bring up prototypes. Now we want a situation whereby we want to set up a demonstration site where these prototypes are erected, where the newly developed and tested alternatives for affordable housing are used. And that is the area we need the engagement of Dangote to help us in setting up this demonstration center, which is lacking. So we are setting up demonstration centers which we can now use to engage our youths. We can now use also to test materials, test even what Dangote, the effect of your own cement on the products that are being used over the years. So we're going to have data as follow-up. So each year or each other year, we come up with different prototypes that can be used. So there's going to be a big center for education and for engagement of all practitioners. And then inside that center, we are going to have places where you can actually train them. You can make even the artisans to build the prototypes being properly supervised. So we need your engagement in this area, and also to help us to have infrastructure to assess the units that are coming up there. So I want to, I wish that Dangote will be able to come up with this type of engagement. I don't know what your response will be, sir.
Thank you very much.
I think we would be happy to discuss and look at ways to collaborate. I think it goes beyond just the prototyping. I think it's also looking at it from because again, one of the things that is lacking today, people make blocks. How do you test the strength of your blocks? You just kind of touch it, and you're able to, some people lift it and drop it and see what happens to it. And depending on, of course, at which level you are, that kind of determines what you think. But having an integrated lab, that tests all these materials and also make sure that what goes into construction, because again, if you don't control it at that point, then you cannot have the building collapse that we spoke earlier, because by the time you're doing something, it's already too late. So having a lab, I would say an integrated lab, that is able to test a lot of the material, because sometimes it's also the chemistry. What I mean by chemistry, what kind of sand you're using, there's the silica, there's also the interaction between one chemical and another. So being sure that the design, the soil, you test the soil, you test the materials you're putting in, and everything syncs. And you're able to then say, okay, if you follow these steps, you're able to be sure that what you're putting up is going to stand the test of time. So I think we're happy to have that discussion and see where we can come in and collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I round up the panel,
training, support, issue of application of the cement talked about here, and I'm sure it's an ongoing conversation. I must also say that even during that session, what I talked about earlier, issue of adapting infrastructural tax credit for affordable housing was also discussed. And I'm also saying that this conversation continues. So it would be nice, it would only be proper to put it on record here, because this conversation is already ongoing, and Dangote reached out to IHS directly. And I'm sure we are trying to see how we can make it more impactful. So it's good to mention this and to thank Dangote for, on their own, reaching out to see how they can make more impact. Because we did say that the home of Dangote is where? It's Nigeria. The most populous country in Africa is where? Nigeria. Biggest economy is where? Nigeria. And of course, Dangote is ready to partner with us. Part of the thing we talked about was how can developers, people in construction who are directly responsible for affordable housing can have access, direct route for products, so that you can see how you can impact on the cost, so that cost can be more affordable. And these are all the kind of things that have been discussed. So I think it's good to also express appreciation for reaching out and for having this kind of conversation, and for even being present here. You can see that they are not only here, they're here for a session, and they're here to see how they can really impact. So thank you.
Thank you very much. For lack of time, we won't be taking any more questions. But we all know where Dangote stand. After we wrap up, you can go there. Dangote is about cement, synonymous with cement. The building industry is well represented here today. And by the powers conferred on me as the moderator, I'd like to call on the president of NIOB to please come up and give a remark. Is the president of NIOB, Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much. I think this rare privilege for us in the Nigerian Institute of Building, perhaps this is the best part of this show for this year, because the whole essence of building construction now is almost like zero to cement, talking about cement. As I sat here this morning, even as VC, I still practice. I have been making phone calls to ensure that 2 or 3 of my sites in Jos have received cement this morning so that work will not stop. And so we are so excited to hear about the good effort that Dangote is doing to ensure that a material that is key to the practice of building construction. Because today we are talking about innovations. And truly, we have heard about a good report of innovation efforts. We hope this will continue. The critical issues about the high cost of cement will continue to be dealt about what innovations, even though in the context of what we are hearing in comparative terms, the cost is a key input. And I needed to also say, as one who had been teaching building construction for the past 30 years, that I think the universities are also trying in terms of research into alternatives. And I was wondering how deep the connection of Dangote is with even our building schools, our construction, of many things. He mentioned about low carbon cement. People are talking about use opportunity to be in Jos. We'll be doing a cement and concrete conference. And I hope that we'll be coming to find partnerships with cement companies like Dangote. It's strictly devoted to that. And so on behalf of builders in Nigeria, show.
Thank you, Prof. It's been a very engaging session. I think most of us here, me in particular, I see there are a few things that came out today that shows their deepening commitment towards ensuring housing affordability to most Nigerians. Again, I'd like to emphasize that if we have questions, if we have follow-ups, we go to the Dangote stand, and there are capable and knowledgeable staff to take our questions. Once again, on behalf of the board of Africa International Housing Show, I want to thank you very much for your partnership, for your support. And please give Alhaji Alinko my best regards. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you.
Round of applause for them. Thank you.
Let's take pictures. We're going to take some pictures. Okay.
They're taking the pictures now, and I just want to call on Mr. Bankole George, Regional Director, North Central Dangote Cement PLC, for the closing remarks.
All right, thank you very much. On behalf of my principal, the president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the leadership team, and every member of our team, I want to say a big thanks to all of you here, citizens and professionals. We say thank you for sharing your time and then know the direction we're going. So once again, thank you for sharing our special day with us. God bless you all. Thank you.
So you can go presentation. Yesterday, they could not give their presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am the manager, sales and investment for Affirmative Investments Limited. I'm representing my CEO, Mr. Jibril Abudla. Affirmative Investment Limited is an investment company with a diverse portfolio in construction, real estate, general engineering, and general contracting. We have imbibed in our work culture and business practices. I am here to introduce our first real estate project in Abuja here. It's called, thank you. This is Affirmative Residences. In my boss's words, it's the most prestigious 1.2 hectare project in Abuja. It's located in Apo, close to the Cedar Crest Hospital. On this 1.2 work, a plant called Jacaranda, that's the purple plant. We have the Izora. They are all grown here in Nigeria. It's from the estate itself. This way, when someone wants to play a game, or when there's a team playing a game, tennis, and they're shouting, it's not in your head. You're not watching people lifting heavy weights while you're driving into your house or just in your house. Again, one of our unique features is that we have a cycling path within our estate. We built the houses in a way that can go around the entire estate. So if you want to jog around you want to go jogging, you can jog around the estate, or if your kids want to cycle, they cycle around within the estate. Now, on the green area, we have our kids play area, we have the yoga platform, and outdoor gym. Our gym is not it's outside, so it's different, it's unique. We're also going to have an outdoor cinema. The next slide, please. Other facilities within the estate include our central security control hub. We are going to be having the fiber to the premises and smart street lights. We are going to be supplying our own electricity, also within our holding corporation. We have 3 house types in this project. Next slide. This is our fully detached house type. It's called the Jacaranda. We named our house types after the plants in our estate. This is the fully detached 5-bedroom house type. It has 3 living rooms, has a kitchen, a kitchenette, has a unique feature, a rooftop terrace. Please, the picture of the house. The external features, these round strides, they are called wooden slats. They are made of plastic. So even when exposed to harsh weather, it doesn't rot. Then, usually in Nigeria, we build our windows with either silver or black frames. But in Afamosa, our frames will be in copper. Also, our railings will be in copper. The wooden slats, they are going to be our signature entrance points all over our estate, where you see cars. Internally, it has a double height ceiling. There is no roof on the ground floor. The ground floor does not have a roof. So you can, from the first floor, see the living room of the ground floor. You go to the next one, the plan to have within the estate. It's also a 5-bedroom. It sits on 390 square meters. It has, all the houses have balconies, all the rooms they all have balconies. Internally, it shares the same design as the fully detached. When you come into our houses, we have a foyer. You walk in, and it's not someone's living room, it's not the kitchen. You walk into a space where you can walk to the kitchen, you can walk to the dining, you can walk to the parlor without seeing them. It gives you privacy. I can be in the living room and tell you I'm not around, but you are right in front of me, you can't see me. So we try to make it very private. Also, the houses are really spacious. The staircase has a unique feature as well. When you land from the staircase, we make it very spacious and is designed architecturally in a way that you can turn it to a study. 95 million, sir. No, it's Naira. we understand that prices for building materials are really expensive now. Yes, the